So one of the things that the internet and digital medium in general has enabled is access to vast amounts of customer data. So customers leave behind digital traces on websites and increasingly even in the brick and mortar world. And so when they leave behind that kind of data, the question is how can managers and how can businesses use it efficiently? So my focus really is on looking at both what can we do with customer data and also what kinds of quantitative tools can we apply to use that customer data. Similarly, I also look at how to apply the same kind of data to efficiently find customers of interest through online marketing channels. So for example, on sponsored search, say a search engine like Google, what kinds of keywords might be of interest to a business? How should they participate in auctions run by Google? How do they use online marketing channels more efficiently and allocate their ad dollars across social media, sponsored search, and a bunch of other digital media efficiently? So generally, a lot of my research shows that customer analytics and big data and analytical machinery can provide significant value. So for example, we find that the use of these kinds of tools can improve product or service fit for consumers by a really significant amount. So for example, if we look at online personalization, we find a significant increase in customer satisfaction from the use of personalization tools. And that increase in customer satisfaction also ultimately results in better customer retention or higher sales. For example, we find that in e-commerce, lift in sales from personalization systems can be as high as 33%. So significant increase in value for both the firm that deploys this technology as also the consumer that ultimately benefits from such a technology. Another facet of my research is looking at the application of these tools for online marketing. And here again, we find that the use of these kinds of tools can help improve the return on investment from marketing dollars by as high as about 33% again. And that again happens because the marketing message is targeted to the right person and the right kind of message is shown to that person. And for the consumer, the value is they don't see messages that are ultimately irrelevant for them. And finally, my research also finds that not only are these kinds of tools and algorithms impacting consumer choice, for example, consumer product choice, it also has a pretty big impact at the market level. So for example, we find that personalization systems can change who are the winners and losers in terms of a market share battle. And so for managers, it raises interesting questions about how best to use these systems and how best to plan your strategy so you're likely to get or your products are likely to get discovered by personalization algorithms, by consumer reviews and ratings, and by social media tools and other such digital medium. I think for managers, one of the implications is that it's not sufficient to merely get the product built and get it out there. A lot of discovery, whether it's for media or for products, is happening through digital tools for consumers, whether it's social media or search engines and personalization algorithms. For managers, they have to increasingly incorporate digital in their marketing strategy, get savvy about how to leverage digital channels. They need to be really thinking about what kinds of choices they make will allow their products to get discovered. So that might mean sometimes providing rich metadata about their products so that personalization algorithms might be able to pick up these products and say, people who bought this other product also bought this other product, or because they're similar. And so to get discovered by these similarity algorithms, you need to provide a lot of rich data so that these algorithms can figure out what products your product is similar to. My research on ratings for products on online websites shows that product ratings tend to reinforce themselves. So consumer ratings are not often independent. What we find is that when people are about to post a rating for a product, they get influenced by prior ratings. And so this creates a certain path dependency where your first few ratings impact future ratings. So this again says that while managers acknowledge that product reviews and ratings are important, it really emphasizes the need to seed this the right way. So to focus heavily on getting your best customers to provide early reviews and ratings, and that helps really set the sentiment and tone for future reviews as well. And so there is a sense of optimal timing in terms of when you want to focus on reviews and ratings on your website. Similarly, on social media, one really needs to think about what kinds of messages work in social media. A lot of focus in the last few years for a lot of firms has been to really establish a social media presence. But now that everyone is there, just being on social media doesn't cut it. So now they have to ask themselves what kinds of messaging works on social media. We find, for example, that a lot of companies tend to discuss their products a lot on Facebook and Twitter and these other social media platforms. And those kinds of posts have the least engagement. And it's instead when they showcase their brand personality, when they have emotional appeal to their products, and when they can really go from being a product to having a certain personality associated with the brand, that's when people engage with them in social media. So I think these are some of the managerial lessons that emerge from some of my research.